Hi, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. On this episode, delighted to be having a second chat with author Maggie Tokuda-Hall. Maggie, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for having me today.
A pleasure. I love the shelfie behind you as well. Looks like a very cozy space.
Yeah, this is my office. We remodeled our house last year, and this is my first office after 11 books. I feel very excited about it.
Yeah, yeah. We talked a few years ago, and I think we were talking about the worlds of like graphic novels and maybe some like middle grades books and some things like that. But you have continued to expand and continue to create in new and different ways. So I have much appreciation for this.
Oh, thank you. And it's worth saying, I guess, I've never actually written any middle grade. I have a book called The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea that sometimes people, because
Yeah.
of the cadence of the title, think is middle grade. But I would just like to be very clear. It's a young adult book with like a lot of stuff in it that is not appropriate for your 8-year-old who reads up unless they're like real precocious and don't feel feelings.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
YA, absolutely. Well, in this episode, we're talking about informational texts and picture books and other such things. So, what's inspired you to create in this wider, varied way? What inspires you to take that on?
Oh, I think the best part about being a children's book author is that it gives you license to do everything that sparks your curiosity and passion. Um, I understand that my career would probably be more successful if I had a more consistent authorial brand, but I have just never been terribly interested in that. So none of my books really have much in common at all, and I really take a deep and abiding pleasure in that.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that as a reader too. It's interesting to see people take on different approaches, different genres, and we're talking about what do people do at a science museum, which is an informational text. So I imagine there's research that goes into that. What was that process like for you?
Oh, that was the most fun I've ever had researching a book. I got to talk to people from institutions all around the country, and to have an excuse to like slide into the DMs of scientists and talented science communicators that I liked on social media to ask them questions. But I started at the SFPL. That was the the best place to start, and I am very grateful for the amount of nonfiction that they carry about biology and different disciplines there. And so, yeah, but it was really like an excuse to just like chat to people uh, whose lives are very different than mine, and I was very curious about.
Yeah, yeah, much love for the public library. Absolutely, much love. Love in the library is another of your titles. So I know this lives in your heart.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, Now, I'm an English teacher when I'm not sitting here with headphones, so I know a little bit about informational text and what that opens up for readers, but curious about your perspective on that. Why are these types of texts important, and what do they open up for readers?
I mean, they open up the world, right? Like
Mhm.
that's that's their job, especially at the picture book age. I feel like it's such a pleasure to be able to provide. You don't have to know everything quite as intimately and as extensively as you would if you were writing. Like if I was writing like a young adult nonfiction about just one of these disciplines, I would need it to have done a very different kind of research, which would have also been a pleasure, but just not was not what I did. This is much more of like a survey of all the different kind of STEM paths that are available in a science museum, which was really fun. And what it allowed for me to do, and what I hope it allows kids to do, is like this is just an overview. So if something is of particular interest to you, you can deep dive then afterward. But a lot of the times we don't know what we don't know, right? Like we don't know what the thing is that's going to like incite our most profound curiosity. And so a survey book like this, I hope, will allow kids to find the things that they're really excited about that maybe they never heard of before, and let that be like a new sort of path of voluntary inquiry.
Yeah, yeah, that word inquiry and curiosity, it's so central to everything that reading can be about. So love that you're creating in that way.
Thank you.
I also know that you keep your audience very much in mind, whether it be YA or graphic novels, picture books. What did you keep in mind for your readers as you were crafting this particular book?
I mean, so it's following like a class, an elementary school class as they go through a fictional natural and science museum. Um, I'm sorry, I'm going to say that again. So
That's
it's
fine.
following it's following a class of elementary school students as they go through a natural history and science museum that's completely made up. And I wanted to make sure that it didn't get bogged down in information because I know that when I was a kid, I was not interested in being bogged down in information. And it
Hmm.
is a lot of
Hmm.
information. Like it's a pretty information heavy book. So there's like little jokes kind of throughout it. And I think Chin Lang, who illustrated the book, did such a beautiful job keeping every page feeling really fresh. So when you turn the page, it does feel like walking into a new room in a museum where you're hit with like all these different things that you could be looking at or curious about. And so I hope that it is lively, like it brings the liveliness to the page, both with the words that I provided and the illustrations that Chen created, to keep kids engaged. But it's also, in my mind, the kind of book that kids can pick up and put down as they please. It's not kind of the same demand as like a story where it's like, read it till you're done. It is the kind of book you can pick up and sip, which I think is nice. And the thing that made me feel the most confident about this book actually just happened really recently. My 6-year-old son stole my single copy of it that I was sent early, and I found it face down on the ground next to the toilet. And I was like, you know what? That's perfect. It means he was interested. He brought it into the bathroom with him, and then
Hmm.
he treated it just the way that children treat books. And I
True,
felt
true.
like that was the most significant review I've received so far.
Field tested, kid approved.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, because I had left it, I think, downstairs. So he had brought it all the way upstairs to his bathroom to look through, presumably while he's pooping. Love that for me. And left it because he was like, okay, I can move on. And I think that that's nice.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Uh, Now, the picture book space is so interesting because it's kind of like poetry sometimes, meeting
Hmm.
images. So curious about what that opens up for you as a creator and what that collaboration is like.
Oh my God, it's the best. So I have this book that is illustrated by Chin Lang, who's like really fabulous and does these like loose, expressive, beautiful drawings that are so fun and feel so much like the way kids move. I think she's incredible. And but it is like it's not a poet's book. Like this is, maybe more of like a your eccentric auntie gave you this book because one time you said you liked the taxidermy at a natural history museum. Like it's more
Hmm.
of a like special interest kind of book. And what's funny is like I have another picture book coming out at the same time as this one called Bathtime for Snow Monkeys that's illustrated by Yazi Mamora. And that
Hmm.
one is straight up poetry. It's all written in haiku. And I love that I live the kind of professional life where I get to do both of those things and act like that's perfectly normal. Because to me it is, but I do
Yeah.
understand that those are very different disciplines. And as somebody who gets bored like very, very easily, it is a real delight to get to do whatever I want every time I open a brand new document. And I think, authors, we complain because the job is hard and we have to promote ourselves, and that's embarrassing and humiliating and degrading. And also, we have the best job in the world. Like we get to make up things and then share them with people. I think that's nice. And the fact that I can do that however I please and in whatever format pleased me that day. Well, not that day, it did take a long time to make both these books, to be clear, but is such a privilege and not one that I take lightly.
Yeah, I have to ask what it was like to compose an entire picture book with haiku.
It was great. I love
Yeah.
haiku. I used to keep a Tumblr back when Tumblr was real, called Bookseller Haiku, where I would write reviews of books in haiku.
Oh, that's a
Um,
great idea.
yeah, it was fun. And it kind of forces you to like put all your thoughts together as narr like in as little space as possible, which I liked just as like a regular writing exercise. And I feel like haiku is one of those forms that you can dip in and dip out of in a really fun way. And so I have tried to write books in haiku before, but they were never quite right. And this one felt so correct because it's about the natural world. It's about the seasonality of it. It is about, like about monkeys in Japan, these Jikokunani monkey park monkeys. And it felt correct for it all to be kind of like quiet and authoritative until there's like a little break partway through the book when like a baby monkey is sort of interrupting the calm of things, which is something you see footage of from there, which I found very relatable as a parent at the time to a 2-year-old boy who was extremely active. And we used to take baths together when he was like little, so that it was just easier because you either end up soaking wet in all your clothes or you can just be soaking wet in the bathtub. Those are your choices. I chose to just be soaking wet in the bathtub. And I remember just trying to be like, feel how calm it is in here, man. And he'd just be like, splashing, making a mess and stuff. And I was like, oh boy. And so this book is very much when I saw the video of those monkeys being like that, and I had my son at that age, it just felt like, oh, we're the same animal, actually. Um, and so the haikus felt very correct because it's like a grown-up trying to bring, presence and stillness and a meditative calm to a child who's like not interested.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Uh, Now I have to ask, being someone who has two books on the way and someone
Mm,
who's created so widely, how would
congratulations.
you
Oh,
like?
no, you're talking to me. I'm so sorry. I interrupted you because I thought you were saying you had 2 books coming, and I was going, congratulations.
Oh, thanks, thanks. I actually do. I have a couple of edited books on the way, but
Hey,
congratulations to
congratulations.
you. We are a circle of congratulations. Um, no, I was going to ask how you want to challenge yourself next creatively.
Oh, that's a really good question. So I've taken about 2 years off of writing to get the organization Authors Against Book Bans off the ground.
Cool.
I was our first president of that. I just stepped down, so now I'm our immediate past president, which was not a title I'd ever heard of before, but now I keep hearing it everywhere. And I was like, I can't believe people
Mhm.
keep saying this, and I had no idea. Shows what you'd think I'd be more curious about words in sequence that I'd never heard before, but apparently I just let them roll right off of me until they were relevant to me. And I was like, oh, we do say that. Um, and so what I will write next has been like a very exciting thing to think about because it's been so long. So right now I'm under contract and I'm writing a book about libraries, which is really exciting and feels like a really nice segue from the work that I've been doing for the last 2 years to kind of go back into writing because it's a nonfiction book about libraries. And so that'll be nice. But after that, I really don't know. And it feels, do you remember the very last Calvin and Hobbes that ever ran? And
Yes,
they're going
yes.
down the white hill and he says it's like a blank white piece of paper.
Hmm.
That's kind of how it feels right now. It's just like it could be anything. And that's such a wonderful, I'm trying to like actually enjoy this moment of it could be anything as opposed to being stressed out of like, oh, it could be anything. Um, because there's not been a lot of moments. I mean, I've just never been in this moment in my career where it's like I've been doing this for long enough that I think that nobody's like, oh, she's an idiot. Like it's
No,
I've proven some amount of like, okay, I'm around. I can do this. I'm capable of this labor, which is really demanding and can be really hard. But I don't know, man. It feels really nice to just feel very unburdened and free of like, okay, every book gets to be different. None of them have to be what any of my other books were. I'm a very different person now than the person who wrote certainly these 2 books and all of the books that have come before this, because in the last 2 years, a lot has changed.
hmm.
And I don't know, I'm just kind of excited to see.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to whatever comes. Looking forward
Thank
to it.
you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
absolutely. Where can we find more information? Where should we go to learn about you as an author, to see these books as well as your other works?
I recently finally updated my website. So prettyokmaggie.com is now a functional place to look through and is very cute. Thanks to the wonderful web designer that I hired. I'm on Blue Sky at Maggie Tokuda-Hall, and I'm on Instagram as Maggie Tokuda-Hall.
Fantastic. Did we miss anything that you want to make sure to include?
May I put in just like a very brief plug for Authors Against Book Bans?
Please do. Please do.
I have to imagine if you're somebody who listens to this podcast, you're somebody who understands the necessity of access for books for all people, not just children. And it is worth understanding that right now we're in a moment where, according to the ALA, something like 70% of all book bans do not come from concerned community members anymore. They come from the government. So we are fighting desperately for our First Amendment rights right now, the freedom to read and the freedom to write. And I don't mean to sound alarmist, but to me, the genuine question about this moment is not what books are going to be okay, but are we going to be allowed to have books? But right now, there are three national book banning bills for the first time from the federal level, where they're talking about all three of these bills are unique and terrible in their own ways. And you can find a Venn diagram delineating the differences between them on the Authors Against Book Bans Instagram account. Um, but all of them will, as a matter of course, ban every single transgender and non-binary book from every public school in the United States. It's the first time that the United States government has taken such like a drastic step toward book censorship in classrooms. And so the bill numbers are 7661, 2616, and 8705. Depending on when this episode airs, they might be in Congress, they might be in the Senate, but regardless, you need to call your reps and tell them to vote no on 2616, 7661, and 8705. They are all terrible bills. And it's a really frightening moment as Republicans are trying to use transphobia as sort of like their central motivating principle for turnout in the midterm elections. Um, it's really hateful and awful and targeting the most vulnerable people in our society, especially the children of this community, makes me feel physically ill. And so I hope you will join me in calling your reps to vote no on those three bills.
Many thanks, Maggie, for that work that you're doing and absolutely supporting book access. And, the thing is, it might be one issue that's at the surface for people that might or might not understand or relate to that issue, but there's so much that is embedded within book access that it really is a critical time.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for having me, Jason.
Anytime, anytime. Thanks so much, and glad to chat again in the future.